The calculator is a very useful tool when we're trying to find a line of best fit when given data. So here is some data that we have, and this is the number of hours online versus test scores. So if I want to see if there's a correlation or a trend, I'm going to put this information into my calculator, see what it looks like, and then see if I can come up with a line or curve of best fit. So the way we're going to do this is that this information, number of hours online, we're going to put that in a list, and we're going to call that list List 1. And then the test score, we'll put that in another list in our calculator that we're going to call List 2. Okay, so I want to see, so we can think of this as my input or X values and my output are my Y values. So what we're doing when we have data, so this is data, we'll call that data, and so whenever we're dealing with data, that means we're dealing with statistics. So that's one way of remembering what we're going to do. And statistics is short, we would call it stat. So when we're given a list of information, we're going to look at our stat button. So push stat, and then we are going to edit. So after we push stat, we're going to go to edit. And what do we want to do? We want to edit our list. So that means that we're going to put this information in list 1 and this information in list 2. So the way you do it, you're going to go 0, enter, 0, enter, 1, enter, 1, enter, 1.5, enter, 1.75, enter, 2, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter, 4.5, enter, and 5, enter. So all my information for list 1 is in. I have to make sure that what goes with these in list 1 is lined up correctly, because if I don't, then I won't get the correct information. So in list 2, I'm putting my output 100, 94, 98, 88, 92, 89, 75, 70, 78, 72, 57, and then 60. Okay, so I want to make sure that those are accurate and they all line up. And so it looks like they did. So the next thing I want to do is I want to look at what this information, these points, look like. So after I enter in my data, so here I entered in data, then I want to look at the scatter plot. So in order for me to look at the scatter plot, if I were just to do graph right now, it's not going to show anything. So I have to direct the calculator on where to go. There's two ways I can do it. So we look here, you see where it says stat plot? So I'm going to go second stat plot. So let's write that down. So I'm going to do second, and then that's my y equals button, which is called stat plot. So notice how it says that it's off. I want to turn it on. So I push enter. I'm going to turn it on. Type is scatter plot, and I'm going to use list 1, list 2, and it's going to be marked like that. Okay, so that's good. So that's on, and so I can just, if I move down, I see that on is highlighted. So the other way I can check is in y equals. Do you see how that stat plot is highlighted? So that means that my stat plot is on. Okay. So the other thing is I'm going to go to zoom. So let's write that down. I'm going to go to zoom. That's the button. And I'm going to do number 9, which is zoom stat. Number 9, which is zoom stat. So let's push, we can just push number 9. It will take me straight there. Okay, so I can see I have my points now. The calculator knew where to look. So if we were going to graph this by hand and do it by hand, I would say, okay, so the line of best fit looks like it's right there. Okay, so it looks like there is a negative trend because my line is going down. We're going to do one more thing because I'm going to have the calculator tell me how good this data is compared to the line. So I'm going to turn what's called diagnostic on. So here I looked at the scatter plot. It looks like it's going to be a line. It could be something that looks like a parabola or something that looks logarithmic, but for the sake of this lesson, it's just a line. So actually, let's just write that down. That looks like a line. So it looks linear. Okay, so you always have to check for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn diagnostic on. Turn diagnostic on. And how we do this is we're going to go to catalog, which is down here, which means we're going to go to second, and then catalog is on your button 0. Okay, so that's your catalog. So second, catalog. So if we look up here, you see the A, that means it's any button I push here will give me the alphabet. I want the letter D. So the letter D is right here. So I'm going to push that button and I'm going to scroll down to where it says diagnostic on. Once you set this up, you don't have to do it again. And then I'm going to go enter and it says done. Okay, so you have to move it until it says done. Okay, so now let's go back and look at the graph. I want to do a line of best fit, it looks like. So this is how I'm going to get the line of best fit. Line of best fit. So I'm going to go back to stat. So let's write that down. Push my stat button. And then I'm going to go over to calc. And you can see there's a number of things I can do. Well, this LIN, that looks like mx plus b, that's my line. This is a quadratic regression, a cubic regression, a quartic regression. This is another linear regression, but notice this is in a different format. I don't want to use this. Natural log regression. We'll be doing all of these throughout the course of the year. But right now we're just going to do linear regression, which is number 4. So here I'm going to write choose type. That's why we look at what we have first. So for today we're going to choose a linear regression. I want list 1, list 2, and I want to store that regression for me. So now I'm going to go to store regression equation. Okay, so I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to put in a y variable. So that means I'm going to do, where is it? Variables, vars, right here. So I'm going to go to vars, and that stands for variables, and then I'm going to select y vars, and then number 1. We only deal with functions in this class. And then I'm going to pick y1. And I'm going to push enter, enter, and so look what it gives me. it gives me a form of a line, it gives me what the value of A is, what the value of B is, and it gives me these R things. These R things tells me how good of a fit we have. So if I were going to write the equation, let me move this up like this so we can see it. I wrote too much on this page. So I have y equals ax plus b, and they tell me A is negative 7907. I'm going to stop there. B is 98.05. And then I'm going to look at R. R is negative 0.90. So before I write this in the equation, I just want to let you know that this means this is a very good or strong correlation, okay? It's just negative, meaning it's a downward trend. So now if I were to take this information and put it in here, it's going to be y is equal to negative 7.9. I'm going to leave that like that. X, and then that's plus 98 point, I'm going to round this up because that's a 5, 1. Okay? So this is my line of best fit, and it has a very good or very strong correlation. I didn't give myself enough room to write correlation. So it's a very strong fit. So that's how you find the line of best fit. If you look in your y equals, you will see the equations there, but I don't want all those numbers because they're meaningless. And the other thing that we have done when we put our y variable is it actually draws the line of best fit for us.